Hi, I'm Beth. Welcome to my channel, Mindful Yoga. For today's yoga practice, we are going to be doing some dynamic flowing movements for increased mobility and flexibility. This is a great practice that you could use as a warm-up to a workout, as a cool down after a workout, as a morning stretch, or as an evening stretch. It's very versatile, and the only prop we'll use today is a towel. Now I have a yoga towel here. Any kind of towel will do. You want some length to it, maybe a beach towel. Any towel will work fine. For the standing poses, we're going to be holding the towel, and we'll use it some other ways as we get down to the floor. All right, ready to get started with me? Have your towel come into a long position where you can hold it pretty wide. Find your feet on the ground. I recommend bare feet for our standing mountain pose. That's our firm position of our feet on the ground. Maybe glance down and see if you can spread your toes. Find your feet really supporting you, really rooting down into the earth to start. And then we'll take the towel wide, arms out in front, so your palms are pointed to the back. We're going to start with some upper body and shoulder mobility movements, and we'll coordinate with breath. So as you inhale, start to let your arms float up in front of you. And whenever you get to the end of your inhale, let your towel come back down, arms come back down as you exhale. So a few times like that, exploring the initial range of your shoulders, moving up and down with your own breath pace. Now, if you find it feels like you want to widen your hands on your towel, maybe that gives you a little bit more space as you rise up, go ahead and make that adjustment for yourself. If you practiced with me before, you know that I really emphasize finding the poses that work for you and for your body. So I find myself going a little bit higher as I start to get a feel for how my shoulders feel. Let's do one more like this. And then next time you go up, we're going to stay up. So find a place where the arms can be overhead. Overhead doesn't have to mean directly over your head. Somewhere maybe above your shoulders. And if it feels like that was too wide, again, you can adjust and come closer together if that feels better for you. So reaching the arms maybe straight up or more in a V. Wherever you are, reach from behind your shoulders. We're going to do a little bit more work with those in a moment. So feel as if you're reaching from your shoulder blades. And then we'll move this into a lateral stretch. Once again, let your feet be really rooted into the ground. We're going to go to your right to start. So let's take a breath in and reach tall toward the sky, the ceiling, wherever you are. And then as you exhale, start to let your body lower toward your right. You can have a little isometric contraction by pulling gently with the bottom hand and also pulling with the top hand to keep the towel pretty centered over your body, but engage your arms more. As you hold here for a few breaths, notice whether your entire body is trying to tip to this side. Firmly plant the left foot, exploring that stretch across the whole left side, especially maybe opening up the left ribs a little bit more. Next inhale takes you back overhead, and we'll go to the other direction, to your left. Take a breath in. We always start with extending both sides long, and then we start to reach to the opposite side. So as you bend to your left, continue to think about length in both sides. That little bit of pull from one arm to the other, keeping a steady contraction between the two arms. Next breath in, come up. Let your arms come down. Give them a little rest. All right, so we moved a little sideways. We're going to do a little forward back motion. It's generally called cat-cow in yoga, and we usually do it kneeling. We will do it kneeling. We're going to start with a bit of a standing warm-up. So take your hands a little bit closer on your towel, and you can have your arms shoulder height. You can have them a little bit lower than shoulder height. I'm going to have mine about chest height. Let your knees be a little soft. We're going to round our entire spine. So you'll start with reaching forward with the arms, tucking your tail, letting your chin dip toward your chest, feeling like your body is becoming a letter C. You might be able to reach so that your head, your ears are between your upper arms. Reach on the towel the whole time, reaching toward, forward, and gentle pulling apart. And then on your next breath, or maybe on your exhale, start to pull your elbows back towards you. Let your chest move toward the towel. So now the towel just moving toward your chest, the chest move toward the towel. Your gaze start to look up as your sternum reaches toward the towel. Your tailbone sticks out a little bit on the back. So forming that C in the other direction. We're going to do this twice more. I'll turn sideways. You can go ahead and repeat if you're ready. So as you reach the arms forward, my knees have a soft bend. I'm tucking my tail, tucking my chin, reaching, creating that big C curve, trying to get into maybe spots of my back that are more locked up. And then as I pull back, I'm not just pulling my arms toward the chest, but I'm letting my chest breathe, expand toward the arms. And then one more, I'll turn back to front as we do this last one. Reaching forward, curving, finding this forward rounding, and then pulling back, finding this back extension. And then letting the arms come down. Oh, my arms are already feeling pretty tired. We're going to do one last movement, or a little bit more movement in the neck and also in the shoulders. All right, so again, coming into a relatively wide hold of the towel. We're going to reach up over your head and then bend your elbows so that you can come into sort of this like scarecrow arms. Stay here for a moment. We'll do a couple of neck turns. So look toward your right, to your left. And one more in each direction. And then head center, and we're going to let our scarecrow arms rotate the shoulders, bringing the towel down. Ooh, I really feel that in the backs of my shoulders. Holding wherever you can hold. We'll do one more left, right, or one more set. And this is your third one. All right, if you can, raise back up to scarecrow. Last little bit here. Bring your arms or your elbows down more so that the towel goes behind your head. You have to squeeze with your upper shoulder blades a little bit. And then push the towel up. Whew. Maybe let a little sigh out and release. All right, we're going to come down to hands and knees. So join me in a tabletop position. Okay, here we are in our tabletop. Your towel can be off to the side. You won't need it right away. Spread your fingers. Let your hands support your shoulders. Your knees support you under the hips. So we're going to find that same cat-cow motion that we did standing, but we'll play around with it a little bit here. So the cat motion is tucking the tail, rounding as you tuck the chin. And then the cow, or your extension, is tipping the tail and reaching the chest through. So that's the movement. What we'll add is on the cow, we're rounding and also shifting our hips back toward the heels. And then as we come forward into cow, I might have said them in reverse, we're going to slide forward, maybe even step your hands a little bit more forward and make the arch this way, almost like a knee down plank, but with an arch in your back. And again, rounding into cat. Feel free to adjust your hands if that helps you get more movement in your back. And then if you'd like to walk your hands as you come forward. And we'll do one more. last extension. All right, come back to your center tabletop, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Finally, we're going to do a little bit more for lower body. So from here, take your leg that's closest to me and extend it out to the side. Find a place where it feels comfortable in your hip. So you might feel a little bit of cramping there. You can slide your leg more out in a back diagonal. You can make it come a little more forward. Find a place that feels roughly sustainable. And we're going to use our hands to make motion in our legs. So we slide our hips and our shoulders forward and back, sort of like we did for cat-cow, keeping the back more neutral now. You'll notice that as I do this, as I make this little slide, I'm actually moving the femur bone in the hip joint. So I'm getting some nice motion or finding some range of motion there. After a few rocks, come back to center. Now we'll take a twist. So this is more for the upper body again, but you might even feel it all the way down to your hip. Keep your left hand planted, so opposite hand to leg. Let your right arm start to reach in the same direction as your leg. And if you like, if you can feel the movement spinning around your rib cage, maybe reach to the ceiling. I can definitely feel that right here in my hip. So it's not just torso, not just upper body. Use your head and stretch your neck looking up to your hand if that feels okay. And come back down. We'll do this one more time on this side. I like to breathe in, feeling the expansion around my ribs as I breathe in and reach up. One more breath in position, and then on your exhale, dive back down. Bring your leg in. If you'd like a brief break coming off your hands, sometimes it can feel good to rest the wrists a little bit, give them a little shake out. This is going to be our last all fours movement on the other side. So I'm going to stay on this side. If you're still in the same direction as me, you'll extend your leg that's away from me out to the side. And same thing, give yourself a moment to find the placement of the leg that works on this side. And we start our shift, our rock. So using our torso and the energy of our arms and our hips to create some dynamic movement in the leg joint. We don't need to move the leg at all. This is kind of a passive stretch for the leg, but we're moving dynamically. Passive meaning the muscles around the leg don't have to work for this. Find your center. You could reposition the right hand a little bit more to center to support you. We'll be lifting and turning left this time. As you're ready, on your in-breath, start extending your left hand in the direction of your extended leg. I'll be moving away from you. And then you can stay right there with the arm parallel or start to reach more up to the sky. Find a few breaths. Unwind by moving around the center, around the ribs, touch the top hand back down, and we'll do that once more. So on an in-breath, feel your body spinning from the area of the belly button through the ribs, through your shoulders, perhaps adding the turn of your head if it's okay on your neck. Finding a breath or two in this open position. Exhale and come back down. Once again, you can come off your hands for a moment if desired. Our last kneeling movement is going to be a lunge, and we will be using the towel again. So grab your towel. You can stay sideways. If you're sideways, I'm going to turn around to face you for a lunge. So we're going to start by stepping the foot forward. Step your left foot forward, and we'll be mirroring each other. Find approximately a 90 degree in your front leg. We're not measuring this. We're simply trying to find a place where this feels pretty stable. You might want to tuck the back knee a little bit further behind you so that you're not on your kneecap. And you can either have the back toes tucked or untucked, whatever helps you to feel more strong and stable. In fact, take a moment, you can simply rest your towel to make sure that you don't feel too wobbly. We are going to feel a little wobbly, and we're going to add some twisting and some balance challenge to this. So we want to start as stable as possible, and that could mean taking your foot a little wider to help with that stability. All right, then grab the towel. You can decide in this whether you grab it closer together or further apart. I think I'll actually double up my towel here so it's a little shorter. We're going to start by turning to the hip of the back leg. So you're taking a twist, turning your body in that direction, and letting the towel rest in the area of your right hip. What we're going to do here is form like a figure 8 with the arms. So we're going to be twisting and reaching with the arms to both sides. So here we go. We'll start by lifting, and you'll go up on a diagonal to the other side. So now we're facing your left, and then let your arms fall to your left hip. You'll already notice, wow, this is a little bit of a deeper twist than twisting to the right. That's fine. Hold here for a moment. And then again, up and diagonal to the first side and come down. So this is more of an open twist. There's more space here. We'll do this 2 more times. If you want to go faster than I'm going, you can. But as I said, you might notice that you're wobbling around because we've gone to asymmetrical, can't say that today. We've gone to an asymmetrical pose, and whenever we invite asymmetry into the body, it does throw us off balance. I said 3, right? Let's do 2 more. That went by so fast and it's so fun. Says I. You might not be saying the same thing if you're feeling super off balance here. If that's the case for you, slow these down more. You know, I knew what was coming. I had a chance to practice. You are welcome to slow these down more and focus more on the range of movement in your shoulders, less about the balance. All right, have another side to do. Take a breath. Always pause, take a breath, regroup, notice any changes from side to side, and then step your right foot forward, find a stable place. Have your foot on the mat, not half on, half off like I am for display purposes. And remember, we start with the arms hanging down, and we are taking a twist, so start to let your body revolve toward your left. Let your arms be extended toward your left hip. We'll do 5, I guess it was 5 on the first side, right? We'll do 5 here. So this is the first, reaching up and over to your right, letting your body twist, arms come down, up and over to the left. All right, that was 1. Now I'm pressing a little bit into my front foot, especially the big toe side of my foot, to try to keep my body stable and not rocking too much. I also have my back foot untucked, and so I'm trying to press into the top part of my back foot, the toenail part. All right, 2 more. And when I'm not looking at you, I'm simply letting my head naturally revolve with the movement, which is approximately having my gaze follow the towel. Let's try that for the last one. Look at the towel as you go to the opposite diagonal, and then look down as it comes down. And as the towel goes front through the diagonal, keep an eye on it. Oh, the towel comes back down, knee comes in. Take a pause, take a rest for a moment. A few breaths to observe what your body's feeling. Maybe everything from the hips up to the shoulders to the neck feels a little bit looser. That's our goal, to feel a little bit warmed up. And then we're going to finish this practice in a lying position. So join me lying on your back. Okay, here we are on our backs. We're going to use the towel still. We're going to use it a few different ways here on our backs. I'm going to start with, I have my towel right here. Just bunch it up as bunchy as you can make it. We're going to take the towel somewhere between our thighs. You can make it more bunchy. You can add another towel if this doesn't feel bunchy enough. Mine doesn't want to really stay bunched. Use a small pillow if the towel feels too fussy. All right, let's see. Got a position there. And then I'm going to walk my feet closer to each other so that I can have a gentle squeeze on the towel. And for me, you might be able to move your feet closer to your bottom. I kind of like taking my whole upper body, lifting my hips a little bit, and letting my bottom come closer to my feet. So this is our setup for our bridge pose. We're going to take the arms in a low V, press the forearms into the ground, let your gaze be toward the ceiling, keep that little bit of a gentle squeeze on the towel, pushing into the arms, and then we're going to start to scoop the tailbone, engage the muscles of the glutes, of the hamstrings. You might feel it down to the calves as you start to lift your hips, coming maybe to the tips of your shoulder blades. Maybe you don't come that high. And then whenever you reach where you come, you start to let your body unfurl back to the ground. So a few times just like this. Let your gaze be neutral, your head, your neck be neutral. Perhaps you start the lift on an inhale, engaging all the back body muscles. So this is a back bend, stretching the front, engaging the back. Remember to keep that gentle little bit of squeeze. And come back down. Let's do one more this way. Again, gently squeezing the towel, engaging the glutes. Perhaps you feel the muscles all around the hips to the lower back engage as well. Let's hold here for a moment or two. Notice if you're feeling a stretch across the hip flexors. That's a great area to open up, to come to this neutral shape rather than flexed. Last in-breath in our bridge. And then exhale. Set the hips back down. Take the towel out from between the legs. Take it into your hands and have a wide width of your hands. I'm going to double mine up again just so I don't have a lot of excess towel. You can have whatever width of your hands if you like. So we're going to start the same way. Again, scoot your hips close to your feet or your feet close to your hips. Now feet are in line approximately with your sits bones. Feel as if you can still feel a gentle squeeze, that squeeze of the towel. Reach your arms straight up over your chest. And again, we're going to lift the same way. Will it feel different without the towel? Can we still feel the activation of the lower body muscles? And then whenever you get to your height, let your arms start to come behind you, reaching behind you. They could come to here. They could come further. Finding that range of the shoulders that we worked on at the start of this class. And then with your next breath, arms come back up, hips roll back down, and you can release the arms. We'll do that just one more time. So starting with the arms straight overhead, your shoulders are still touching the ground. So your arms are not reaching so much that your shoulder blades don't have contact. Scoop and lift, engaging the back body. Starting to feel that stretch across the front and the quads, the hip flexors, the ab muscles, maybe even the ribs, the chest. And then enhancing the upper body part of this stretch by reaching the arms behind us, reaching long, keeping all of those sensations, the sensation of squeezing between the thighs as if you had the towel there, reaching the towel away, pulling gently apart with the towel as you do that. Last breath. And then exhale. Start to bring everything back to center. All right, we'll do a little bit of stretching for the legs, getting a little bit more of a release. So take the towel over the bottom of your right foot. Hold both ends of the towel. Start to bend straighten your legs a few times. And find a place where you can extend the leg. It can have a micro bend. It doesn't have to be all the way straight. Hold both ends in your right hand, and we're going to start moving the leg with the arm. Now, it doesn't have to be any particular shape. What we're trying to do is move the leg around but keep the hips pretty stable. So if you reach the leg out toward me, don't roll toward me, keep the hip stable. Same thing if you switch hands with the towel. Can you keep this hip down as you move the leg? So this is very similar to what we did on all fours when we rocked our body in order to get movement in the hip joint. Now we're using the towel and our hand to find that same range of motion, but every which way, not just forward and back like we did before, every way all around the circumference of how our leg can go. Now, if there's a spot where you feel like that spot could use a little bit of a stretch and you want to hold there for a few breaths as we finish out this leg, go ahead and hold that for a few breaths. All right, second leg. Switch to the ball of your left foot. Bend, straighten a few times to find some range, to warm things up. Your foot really is just gently flexed enough to hold the towel over it. It doesn't have to be strongly flexed or strongly pointed. And then keep the leg extended. Any degree of bend is fine. Start with both ends of the towel in your left hand as you move the left leg around any which way. I sometimes like to keep my hand on this hip to encourage the isolation of that movement in the leg socket without this hip following it around. Now, if you want to do a specific kind of movement, you could do some circles. You could do some figure eights like we did with the arms, or some other letter or number. Really letting it move around organically, switching hands if you like, and simply looking for any spots that might still feel sticky. And if you find one, oh, there's one, feeling free to hold for a few breaths. Letting your breath help you relax into anything that feels less mobile, more stuck, more sticky. All right, let that leg come down. Take your feet wide. A few simple windshield wipers of the legs. And if you'd like, maybe moving your arms, you could move your arms around a bit too. You really went through and mobilized everything from your shoulders to your mid-body, your torso, your neck, your hips. We got the legs into it at the end. So hopefully you can now feel a bit more openness and a bit more release. You are welcome to stay here, perhaps come into a constructive rest with the knees resting together. Breathe for a little bit. If you want to try some of my other yoga practices, I have some on the shorter side, less than 30 minutes. I have some that are a little bit longer, and a whole bunch of playlists that you can see in the description below. Please give me a like. It helps others find this channel. Comment to let me know what you think, and enjoy the rest of your day.